What's good, people? This is about that time to randomly relate, reverse rant, no hate. So I want to follow up on something that I did, and then I didn't. I made a video, but then I didn't release it. Maybe 2 months ago now, a month and a half ago. Anthony Joshua, he was being interviewed by Coogan, and in that video, Anthony Joshua was, Coogan asked him a lot of questions about a lot of things. Anthony Joshua in that video was saying he's done with losing and, saying how, when he loses, it's not like he's happy about losing. He's just taking like, okay, well, I lost and he moves on. It bothers him. And, and I get that. But he talked about, the strategy. When he was asked about the strategy, the approach to the fight, Anthony Joshua said, you have to talk to the team about that. That definitely got my attention because I'm like, he's asking you, what do you mean you got to talk to your team? Now, deep down inside, Coogan knows. I know it. The fans know. And in fact, I believe Anthony Joshua knows that the approach was wrong. And he says that, people think they'll say, oh, you should have fought this way and that way, but it's different when you're in there. This is part of when you hear me say a great fighter is not only great because he has a great team around him, but the experience you gain, you know how to make these adjustments in the ring. The thing is, he's never fought a guy as slick as Usyk. Different style. You don't have to always fight a person first. Then, it's like you have everybody that you fight, you fought them for the first time. So it's not like, like a lot of guys, they do have to lose first. They'll fight, they'll lose, then they'll come back better in the rematch. That does happen to guys, But what I'm saying is having the ability to adjust to what a fighter does, you'll at least see that happen in the ring. So even if they don't get the win, but it's like they went in and left it all in the ring. None of us, and whether you hate Anthony Joshua or whether you support Anthony, you bottom line want to see him win. To be honest with yourselves, you all know that Anthony Joshua, he didn't leave it all in the ring. He didn't leave it all in the ring. He got conservative against a much smaller guy. A guy who doesn't punch nearly as hard as guys that he's already been in there with, but he has, a different skill level. And Anthony Joshua, bottom line, to me, when he said you got to ask the team, that means to me, what that's saying, I followed the instructions that they gave me. That's all I did. So whatever went wrong, you got to talk to them. Did you hear what Floyd Mayweather said in his last interview? When he said, even when you go to the corner, your coach is telling you this, that, and dude, he said, sometimes I don't say anything because I know the cameras are there. And, you don't want to give your game plan, like what you're thinking. He said, but I'll just go out and do what I have to do. I don't even tell the coach he doesn't tell his father, all right, nah, I'm not going to do that. I'm going to go do this. I'm going to go do that. He just knows, I know what I got to do. I hear him, but I'm going to go do what I need to do. And this is what I'm saying. However, whether you discussing it in the corner, because you don't want to be in there debating and going back and forth. First of all, it's not about arguing. You guys have a job to do. But I've said, Anthony Joshua in the Andy Ruiz fight, he lost first. He came back in the rematch. He did what he had to do. I take no credit from Anthony Joshua. He did what he had to do. Okay, but at the same time, in this fight with Usyk, I don't know what his preparation was like. And even though, it was initially going to be Fury, but no, when you knew that you was going to fight Usyk, if he felt different about the way his team was preparing him, he need to make that known. Because the same way, when you go back to that corner, it's like, man, listen, this shit ain't working. Look, I don't know. Your timing, your speed, everything, your rhythm, everything that you have to put all together, your power shots, You know, your distance shots, your foot movement, all of that, your punch placement, your accuracy, all of that it all has to be there. And if that shit is not working, what they're doing, you speak the fuck up, because you're the one in there getting punched in the face and punched in your fucking ribs and kidneys and all that, not the trainer. And so for Anthony, when he said that, I'm like, nah, that's not a good answer, because that's like, hey, it wasn't my fault. I was just following instructions. And that's why part of when I say Anthony Joshua doesn't show a high ring IQ when the fight is tough. Otherwise, like when it's going his way, you know, he's been dominating and doing his thing. I don't know what's going on with Anthony Joshua, but in all honesty, I feel like since his fight with Andy Ruiz, he's won the rematch. Okay? But it's like he doesn't talk the same. In a nutshell, people, what I got from Anthony Joshua's interview, he sounds very self-doubting. He sounds uncomfortable with himself. He sounds like look, I'm going to say this and then I'm going to get back to it into the last video I just saw of him. Anthony Joshua, at one point, you know what? If my opponent tries to take me out, I like that. It's boxing. But now it's like, okay, you give me yours. Now when you take mine, we'll see, right? He's not talking like that no more. Now he's, you know, even he said he's all about, now he's like, forget the sweet science of boxing. He's all about war now, and he wants to go out there, and now he's talking like you can hear this is frustration. He even mentioned how he didn't realize until he came to the States that in America he was considered a half decent boxer. You know, otherwise, you know, he never knew that. And it's like, for all of these things that I hear him saying, it sounds like, for one, I feel like definitely he feel like he's unappreciated. Because Anthony Joshua has fought the best guys out there. He didn't duck these guys for fights that didn't happen. But I feel like he feels unappreciated. But at the same time, all those emotions and all these things is not going to change. It should not change who you are. You have to fight for you. The last interview he just did with Coogan, I hear him, but it's like he said a lot of nothing. You know, he's talking about, it reminds me of the last interview that they just had. In ways where he's like, he was asked about step aside money. What do you do? And he said that, well, I don't know about it. He said, if my team may have heard about it, at this point, they know not to come to me with that. So then he turned around and said, you know, he's asked if the money's right, he consider it. It's like, no, man. AJ, if you stand on principles for anything, that means something that you stand for as well, you're against other things surrounding that. And it's like, no, we're not having that, right? That's a big contradiction. And I believe a lot of it is he's trying to answer questions. You know, I call it a lot of word salad when people just, you know, Charlie's philosophy way of talking. And Deontay was doing that shit. You know, at one point we was making fun of him, laughing at him, you know, and like, what are you talking about? And I'm looking at AJ like, AJ, what are you talking about, bro? You just said that your team know not to come to you. Then you end up saying, if the money's right, you'll consider it. Like, no. The only way that, I mean, someone would be stupid to pay you a big amount of money to step aside. You know, to be honest with you. If they're willing to do that, the only real reason, I mean, I could see two reasons. One, a person would say, fuck that. I'm getting paid a full salary to step aside. I'm getting millions just to step aside. And then I'm going to get the fight anyway and make way more, you know. Okay, so they're maximizing their dollars. Two, the only way that I really understand in AJ's situation for him to do that is if he doesn't feel confident that he's ready to beat Usyk in a rematch. I mean, what's the purpose of you stepping aside? Now, he didn't bring it up. Coogan brought it up, but it's just a simple fact. Like, I'm listening to AJ. I don't know if you guys can hear it and pick it up on it, but AJ sounds like, honestly, it sounds like his confidence is not the same. And it's like mentally, I'm not saying he's mentally unstable, but he seems worried. He doesn't sound like he's 100% confident. When he was asked about Dillian White versus Tyson Fury, he said, I wish it was me in there, but it's their fight, whatever. But yeah, I wish it was me. He's like, I'd fight Dylan. But then he asked him, are you focused on Usyk? Is it like those things you just focus on Usyk and only Usyk? And he says, yeah. And he says, like, some mornings I wake up and it's like, it's just I'm just training. It's like, yeah, pretty much with Usyk. I think about this and that, and it's like, yeah, man, AJ is all over the place right now. And I'm telling you guys, I've been around long enough. I've been around enough situations, and it's just like if you're a teacher or whatever you hear something all the time. You're around, the behaviors. If I mean, in psychology, one of the things that you learn is people a lot of times they speak off the emotions that they feel, whether they feel confident that they're capable of doing these things they're talking about is something completely different. And this is why when people start talking, a lot of times they try to be careful with what they say. They don't want to answer certain questions. And basically, another loss to AJ will be damaging to his career. Let's just be real. This should be the third one. So when people are talking about, oh, losses don't matter, bullshit, losses don't fucking matter. Who the fuck wants to watch a loser? You understand what I'm saying? And a third loss would be damaging to him. Now, the thing is, if he did step aside, I would see him fighting the winner between Fury and Usyk. But at the same time, it's like anytime somebody beat you, you want to beat that person. I don't know what AJ has learned since that loss that he's able to add to his arsenal that he's going to need to beat Usyk. But one of the things that I see, I don't think AJ lost his heart to get in the ring with any of these guys. But it's like once he's in there, his heart's just not the same. Because he's trying to be so careful, so cautious. He's limiting his offense. He's not throwing shots. He's not throwing those shots with confidence. He's not throwing those shots with bad intentions. He's not doing that. It's like he's being very conservative. And in terms of not punching yourself out, I can understand. But when you're letting a fight just slip away, you got to know. I'll tell you, when you're losing. You know when you're not winning a fight. Fighters can sit there and run with their arms up and jump up on the ropes after they've only won fucking 2 or 3 rounds out of a fight. That's just to persuade the judges. They know that they didn't win that fight. You know in a fight if a guy's touching you way more than you're touching him. And pretty much for you to go in there and not fight like a big man, for you to go in there and let the smaller, weaker guy, have you at a stalemate. And and the thing about it was like, AJ was landing some shots and he was, but he wasn't fighting Usyk with that this is war mentality that he's talking about. This is what he wants to do. And to say that I'm done with learning the sweet science type of thing, and this is all frustration, man. This is a guy that's unsure of himself. This is a guy that the way he beat Andy Ruiz, he should not have to fight Usyk that way. I'm just being honest with you. I can understand when he fought Ruiz that way because the hand speed and the fact that Ruiz was able to beat him to the punch. Now you can sit there and watch both of those fights. You can sit here and look at what Andy Ruiz does right, what he does wrong. You can look at your own shit, what you're doing right, what you was doing wrong, and then, okay, you know what? Now I know how to mix it up better in the third fight, if that was to happen. But he should not have to fight Usyk on the back foot. That's just real talk. If you can't beat Usyk, Usyk's strong point is when he's backing up and moving. That's what he's accustomed to. He loved that shit. So the fact that he had you to respect him enough that you fought him at a stalemate, you didn't go in there and put that hurt on him. For one, you give Usyk more confidence. I don't see Usyk being able to do anything really different. He doesn't really need to. But can AJ be different? And I'm telling you guys, I'm listening to him talk. AJ sounds damaged mentally. I hope that's not the case, that he can't. That definitely is the case. You can hear it in what he's saying. You know what I'm saying? You can hear it. It's not about shit talking. It's just his responses to what he's being asked is really, like, I don't want to sit here and play. The video's like 13 minutes long, and the other video is way longer. So I don't want to sit here and have to go through finding the clips just to play what he's saying. But you can hear that AJ's confidence is not the same. You can hear it. And this has been ever since the Andy Ruiz loss. That AJ, that was his first loss, and I'm pretty sure he felt like, damn, you know what? Okay, but he did it. He took his loss like a man. He lost to Usyk, took it like a man. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is, when he came back and beat Andy Ruiz, cool, no problem. But it's like, because he was getting caught and getting dropped in the first fight, it's like he's afraid that if he gets in there and gets clipped, that the same shit can happen again, to where he doesn't have it in him to go for that kill unless he gets you hurt. Like when he fought Pulev, when he landed a shot and he rocked Pulev, then he jumped on him. But, and he, to me, like people say, look, well, he didn't look like shit against Pulev. I thought he did a good job against Pulev. You know what I mean? But at the same time, it's like, if you're getting caught with shots, and the first thing you start to think is retreat, and now you're not letting your hands go, it just shows that, yeah, that first Ruiz fight is still in his head, one way or another. No, I don't suggest you go in there and just go balls to the wall and just start swinging for the fences like you're desperate. No. I mean, if you're in a fight where, hey, man, you know what? I'm going to go out on my shield, or either I'm just going to end the fight saying I didn't get knocked out, whichever way. That's up to the fighter. But AJ, he doesn't sound like the same guy, man. You look at any AJ interview before that, a lot of people say, yeah, but he was younger, he's more mature. And AJ was never a shit talker. That's not what I'm saying. You do not hear him speak with the same confidence that he used to speak with. You don't. And he'll always say that, yeah, I'll fight anybody. I believe he would. But once he gets in there, if the fight's not going his way, it's like, are you going to retreat? Are you going to let your hands go? Are you going to, I don't understand, I don't understand, I'm not there. Not that I don't understand. I don't know. I'm not there to know what kind of training he's doing. Slipping shots, countering shots, throwing combinations off the jab, working. I'm not there to see what they're improving on. But even though Usyk is a great fighter, if Usyk is in his head that much, and we're talking about a guy, let's not get it twisted. Now, Usyk is a heavyweight. All that bullshit about, he's not a real, no, Usyk is a heavyweight. But for him to start talking the way he's talking, I'm not talking about him saying that he wants to be known as a great businessman and all that. I'm not even talking about that. You should want to be a businessman. You should, want to know how to make wiser decisions and everything. But at the same time, it's like the fighter in you. What I'm saying is, when you in that ring, even before a fight, AJ, remember that time when he got pissed off when he came in the ring to congratulate Dylan, and Dylan was like, I want to fight this linky piece of shit right here. Remember when AJ, that's the one of the rare times we saw AJ really get mad and show it. And remember when he was out there, he said, none of these heavyweights are on my level. And you could see it in his face and everything, in his voice, like he was really aggravated. You haven't heard him talking like that. I'm talking with that same confidence. You haven't heard that. From you saying, I just did what I was told. You give me instructions to do something, and I know that shit is not working. Nah, no. Or I'm going to end up changing it on my own. If it doesn't work, then it's on me. But you can't say shit because what I'm doing that you're asking to do is not working. You understand what I'm saying? And when you have a sharp boxing IQ, you know that these things are necessary. You know that you can't continue to keep doing the same thing. You see, guys, let's look at Dubois versus, Daniel Dubois versus, I forget the damn guy name, but this guy, y'all know what I'm talking about. The big iron jaw guy. And he's jabbing the whole fight. Jabbing. Whole fucking fight. That jab was there. Dubois had no answers for slipping that jab. Make him miss, make him pay. He was landing some shots on him. He was trying to get him out of it. He was landing big shots, but he was just able to take the shots. Dubois had to tap out because he couldn't see. Nerve damage to the eye and everything or whatever. Like, at the end of the day, what I'm saying is, when you're coming back to the corner, if your trainers are telling you the right things and you just can't do it, then that's something you know that you have to work on. You can't continue to go out there and keep doing the same things. And this is what I'm saying. When y'all know I'm tripping inside, right? Because I can't remember this damn guy's name, but y'all know what I'm talking about. But anyway, gave Dubois first loss. But at the end of the day, listen. When these fighters are going in this ring, in the ring, and win, lose, or draw, they leave it in the ring, they're going to be far more respected. They're going to be far more respected. And the fighters are going to know, man, listen, if you do go in there and beat him, you got to be ready all night. People are not looking at AJ like that anymore. They're looking at AJ like, nah, he's weak-minded. His mind is fragile. All you got to do is pressure AJ, he's going to fall apart. AJ can put a stop to that if he can go in the ring and show that and improve and actually, hey, listen, show, not tell us. And AJ's never been a big talker, but show that, hey, nah, AJ gets it now. He's right. It's not just about, okay, he can fight on the back foot, but how did he, what, you have the tools, okay? How you use them and how sharp those tools are. This is what we need to see from AJ. But just listening to him talk in his last interview and the one before that, it's like, yeah, AJ just sounds broken inside, man. He feels unappreciated. You can hear that. He talk about, my 12 title defenses, man. 12 title fights I've been in. 12. And people are still saying, you can hear that this frustration is like, man, what else do I have to do to, fuck the people, AJ, in terms of trying to get them to like you or man, listen, people are going to like you, they're going to not like you. Your job is to go in there and be the best that you can be. But you need to leave it in the ring, man. You can't go in the ring and be, damn, I'm tentative to throw that shot in case he counter. I don't know. I want to do this, but man, he looked so unsure. He looked lost in that fight against Usyk. He looked lost, like he didn't know what he was supposed to be doing. And to be honest with you, at the age that AJ is now, I'm not going to say he can't sharpen up, but it's like he's starting to forget things that he used to know already. It's like, what happened to that killer instinct AJ that would get you out of there? We haven't seen that same AJ. He's been very, very conservative. And, in the heavyweight division especially, all it takes is one punch. It could be lights out for you. So, I don't know, man. I don't know. But AJ, 2 straight interviews back to back. It's like, what the hell are you talking about, AJ? Like, you saying shit, but what? Like, I'm not understanding what the fuck you trying to say. It was things he was answering, man, and I'm just like, AJ, man, you got to get back to doing what made you in the first place. And for one, with all that conditioning they're talking about, you definitely need to work on throwing combinations, working off that jab, and making sure that you're keeping your speed up, because in that last fight against Usyk, it's not like, oh, Usyk so fast he made AJ look slow. No, AJ looked slow and unsure. It's like he wasn't sure about what punch he should be throwing. It's like he was trying to, throw shots and just like try to figure things out as he was going. And to be honest with you, as bad as he looked, the fight was closer than people. I think somebody had it 8-4 and somebody had it 7-5. And I'm like, he definitely lost the fight. Definitely lost the fight. But it was like he just did not deliver. He really didn't. He did not go in there and I'm not going to say he didn't do his best. He did the best he could do that night. That's the scary part about it for him. If that's the best that he can come up with, then you can't just look at it and say, oh, but that's because it was Usyk. Like, listen, this is the fight game. You got to stay sharp. You can't sit back and have you can't have these fights happen the way it is because you keep thinking next time. Then it gets to the point, nobody's coming out to buy tickets for your fights no more. You a has-been, a thing of the past, and it's all over. You're not the guy you used to be. AJ has to get shit done, and he needs to get it done. His confidence needs to be there. He needs to understand, he has to put it together. And when you're studying film, and he always say he studies film, and that's all good to see what other people did in certain situations, but you have to learn how to apply these things. And I'm telling you, I can hear uncertainty, insecurity in AJ. He's like not sure of himself. And he said before, when he lost to Ruiz, sometimes you question and wonder, like, do you belong here and stuff like that. And it's like, yeah, of course people are going to say AJ is weak-minded. That definitely is the statement of someone that's in a weak-minded state at that moment. And it seems to me like he's just never recovered mentally in terms of his confidence. As long as he's not getting cracked, as long as he's not having a problem getting to you, it's like the harder the fight, that's when he's really going to be tested. He did his thing against Pulev. Let's not get it fucked up. He did his thing against Pulev. But what I'm saying is, you get in there with somebody that's going to make a dog fight, that's going to bring it to you, somebody that's going to be technical and tactical and not easy for you to catch up to. You got to figure these things out. And if your team, is not helping you to get where you need to go, then sometimes you need to change your goddamn team. Because if you are complacent with who you have in that room with you and who's in the gym with you, then, it's not about looking for somebody to point the finger at. But if they're not helping you to improve, something got to give. One way or the other. But I don't like the answers AJ was giving. Like, as far as I'm like, nah, you sound like a completely different guy now. If you guys didn't check these two interviews out, go check them out. I think this IFL, Kugan Cassius or whatever. Kugan Cassius, whatever you call his fucking self, but him, two back-to-back interviews where AJ just don't sound like himself. And you guys will see what I'm talking about. Anyway, never fall in love with lies. Remember, the truth brings hate out of people. And I will catch y'all on the next video.